Welcome to Buckets. Coming to you from the Tommy John Home Studios. The Indiana Pacers are not of this world. And no trend matters against them. No spread matters against them. No point differential matters against them. As the Indiana Pacers walk in and once again, like Ocean's fucking 13, steal game one, 111-110. Tyrese Halliburton, the pull-up J on Cason Wallace. After the Pacers had 20 first half turnovers. Shea had 38. The Thunder dominated the vast majority of this game and led by 7 with under 3 minutes to go. And once again, Indiana wins outright. Plus 9.5, money line as well. I'm coming to you from the Tommy John Home Studios. I'm Matt Moore here in Brokeville, USA, because I had the Thunder every which way tonight. Unbelievable. Joining me, Brian Fonseca MY on Twitter and the Action Network app, at Brian Fonseca on his YouTube channel, at Fiddle's Picks for Michael Fiddle, host of the Advantage Sports Betting Podcast. He'll give us the market report for Game 2 coming up. And the Pacers backer himself, Brandon Kravitz, in the zone Monday through Friday, 3 to 6 p.m. Pre- and post-game radio for your Orlando Magic. Brandon Kravitz, take a fucking bow, man, on Pacers tonight.
You would think that I would take joy in this, but I know that I'm looking at 3 other talking heads right now that have lost money tonight. And so it is hard for me to
Don't
feel
pity us. No, screw you, Kravitz. Don't pity us.
I didn't lose much. I lost like less than half a unit. I'm good.
I'm good. Thanks, Brian.
Well, I was going to come around and say that all of that was incredibly fake, and I'm glad that you lost because at least 2 of you looked at me like I had as many heads that are on this podcast tonight when I took the Pacers plus 9.5, looking like Joe Public over here, and then the betting markets swing. All of a sudden, everybody gets all nervy and starts listening to all of the, quote, experts leading up to tip-off of this game. And what do we see with the betting splits? 51% of the bets, 64% of the money on the Oklahoma City Thunder coming into this game. And did it matter? Not one bit. The Pacers are inevitable. Get me the Thanos gauntlet and let's snap some fingers. The Pacers are 5-3 straight up this postseason when trailing by 15 plus points. No other team has 4 such wins in the last 20 years of the playoffs. Thank you, Evan Abrams, for that one. And they also never led in this game until Tyrese Halliburton took that final shot. If I sound obnoxious right now, it is because I am obnoxiously proud of the fact that I stood alone on Pacers Island and I stand victorious.
Man, what a hit. I got nothing here on this. Absolutely phenomenal job.
I'm glad I stayed away from the money line. I mean, from the spread.
And I don't regret it. I don't regret it. Every number was there. Like, this is sports, man. This is just how sports, this is how sports goes. And sometimes there's these teams that are able to do this. If we look at, I think, my biggest takeaway here of all of it, outside of Tyrese Halliburton, has testicles that belong in a very large wheelbarrow, not like the one that you get from Walmart in the discount section. Like, you need to go to an industrial supplier. Like, you cannot carry that man's equipment in anything that you're going to buy out of Walmart or Target or even like a nice outdoor store. No. You have to go straight to like industrial source for that man. The other thing here is that Mark Daigneault completely fucked this. And it looked like it was going to be fine. It looked like it was going to be okay when he starts Cason Wallace for Isaiah Hartenstein. He changes his lineup before game 1 of the NBA Finals. And it looks like it's going to be okay. And it was early on, right? Thunder are up double digits for the vast majority of this game. Kaysen Wallace in this game ends up a -13, gives up the game-winning bucket. Now, I don't blame Kaysen. Like, that was just like a sick move by Halliburton. It's chaotic. Like, he defended it pretty well. Hallie got the step back on him. I don't blame Kaysen there. But they got so far away from all these scripts because Dags was just trying to like outsmart himself. They were playing without a center down the stretch. He played AJ Mitchell, which a lot of people had problems with. He was -3. And I was like, well, it's only -3. That's fine. Yeah, well, I also have to keep in mind that 3 points probably would have mattered a lot at the end of this game. Dagnall, I just think completely got away from process here, Brian Fonseca. I just think that like, if we're looking at a blame perspective, Jalen Williams missed a bunch of shots, but I thought Mark Dagnall did a terrible job of managing this game. And especially in the second half, once again, can't get his team settled as the lead just keeps dripping away.
Yeah, they should fire him before game 2. They should do what the Knicks did. Just fire him. Just fire their coach after a collapse by the players on the court. I do think he got too cute. I was perplexed by a couple different things. I didn't see the need ahead of game 1 for a team that we've been touting all season long as the best, and the numbers would back that up, to switch your starting lineup and play to the Pacers' size. I don't understand why you do that. That tells me they're a little bit more worried, maybe, in terms of the pace, not to use that pun, but it's going to be overused when the Pacers are involved. It tells me that they're worried about that in a way that I probably didn't expect, because I didn't go into this, Matt, thinking that Isaiah Hartenstein would be coming off the bench for Kaysen Wallace. Not that I minded the adjustment. I also thought, why not Chet Holmgren instead? Because this is the kind of Chet Holmgren effort that I was worried about, where we talked about like long shots for finals MVP on best bets, looking forward to this series. I looked at Chet and I was like, I just don't, even at plus 8,500, I was like, I don't think he's going to be consistent enough through the series, because he's going to have a couple of shit games, and this is one of them. So not only do you start Kaysen Wallace over Isaiah Hartenstein, who, by the way, was productive in his minutes, like, why not even entertain Chet Holmgren potentially coming off the bench instead if you're going to do that, I guess is my question. So there's that. The AJ Mitchell minutes, I don't think were a killer, but Oklahoma City, also a big part of this was they couldn't hit shots. Like, nobody could hit from 2, as we talked about before we got on here. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander took 30 shots, which, if you're the Pacers, you're like, okay, nobody else is scoring like that effectively enough for us to worry about. And they were able to take advantage and do the dark magic thing that they do. Like, Matt, you thought the Heat in 2023 were bad? This Pacers team, with these comebacks they have late in games, Jesus Christmas. Tyrese Halliburton's on a historic run, legitimately. Statistically historic run right now.
Yeah, I mean, there's a key differential, which is like the Pacers are good. And that matters, I think, for comparing them to the Heat.
That's a pretty big difference.
I mean, I think you got to, if you're really going to dive into,
I'm just saying, because Matt, the Heat really stressed you out in 2023, and this is actually like on the flip side, because everybody was on Thunder, not just here but everywhere, and this is what I was worried about heading into Pacers next game 6.
Yeah,
this is what I was worried about.
A couple of numbers for you. No Pacer had more than 20 points. Had 20 points. No Pacer had more than 19 points.
I mean, if that's not exactly how they want to win, I don't know what is.
Obi Toppin 5 for 8 from 3 for the first 5 threes for the first time since March, by the way.
3 Pacers with double-digit rebounds. Aaron Nesmith, Pascal Siakam did give the over on rebounds. Gave that one out. And Tyrese Halliburton with 10 as well.
Take your victory lap, Matt Moore. Take your victory lap.
The under on Halliburton, under 6.5 assists, gets home with ease. The over on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander does not. 3 assists. You'll hear from Brandon Anderson tomorrow on the live show at 2:30 Eastern. For those of you clamoring for blood right now in the comments here at YouTube.
What was it again, Matt? Was it minus 33.5? Was that the alt?
It was in fact the alt. But look, I don't regret that cap. I don't. I'm sorry. And right now, if you're like, what are you going to do in game 2? I'm like, well, right now I don't want to bet it at all, because I don't want to bet against the Pacers team. And the number is completely out of whack. Speaking of, we haven't heard from Fiddle yet. Fiddle, this market opened 11. The books are like, no. Nothing easy for you on the bounce back. Got to win game 2 for the Thunder. And this market is just already out of whack.
Yeah, they pretty much just opened the lines and said, we know every bettor is going to try and martingale this, meaning bet double whatever they just lost on OKC to win game 2. And they just kind of shaded the line out of any realistic possible betting opportunity. The total is all over the place too. I'm watching the screens light up, and yeah, anything from 228 kind of an under, 226.5 kind of an over. It's like everyone's fighting. There's no real consensus. So it's really hard to see like any realistic bettable opportunity in game 2 odds that are opening. And it's just the game 2 market is as wild as the game 1 fourth quarter last 5 minutes. I would say that.
I was muted. Cash the minus 1,000. Pacers right now, by the way, the early report coming in. Okay, so this is fascinating. All right. Usually we don't get this kind of movement in the Action Pro system until like you gotta wait a day, right? Like it takes folks like a while. No. 96% of the early tickets, 96% of the early money are on the Pacers, but we're tracking sharp action on OKC.
Yeah, people are going to try and bet like any Pacers backer who just feels a surge of confidence after game 1 is going to see the lines reopen at 11.5, and they're going to do the same thing. Like, why wouldn't I bet this if I just bet 9.5? It actually closed at 10. There was another late action towards OKC and a late action towards the over once the I Heart to Case and Wallace news, and the game goes under and the game goes Pacers. So there were, it was an inefficient market for the NBA as it relates to finals game 1, and game 2 shows like it is just really hard to find right now. Like, we'll let this market mature a little bit, and this game is until Sunday. So we'll see what happens over the next few days, but it's probably going to be one where you look more to prop angles because the props have to be attackable in the sense of what we just saw out of the rotations and what adjustments have to be there, and less turnovers are probably likely. And so I would assume the prop market is the place to attack for game 2, and sides and totals. We will see where consensus forms, and then it starts to shake out.
The number I want is I want to know if you had bet Pacers in that Cavs game 2, if you had bet Pacers in that Knicks game 1, and then Pacers tonight down 7 with 3 to go.
We have to include Bucks in the final one where they closed it out. They were down 7 with 40 seconds left.
A very serious note here. Just Fred says, do I have to keep betting? Which is funny, but also, by the way, no, you don't. You do not have to keep betting.
You are allowed to take games off, series off.
I should very much stop. And I am going to absolutely be a black hole by the time that this is done. But I do think it's just like, I mean, these runs are absolutely ridiculous. And I get it from the perspective of this team has had this kind of mindset. Right. And like I've written about it and I've talked about it and I talked about it last year. It's why I liked them so much last year in that Buck series. And I liked them versus the Knicks last year and this year. But I really thought like, okay, but this one, come on. Like the Thunder literally have the best point differential in NBA history. They literally have the best defense that we've seen in 20 years. Kravitz, can I ask you, like, how did they win this game? Like, how?
I mean, that's a great question. I'm honestly gonna have to go back and watch it because it sort of sneaks up on you the way that they're able to just kind of hang around. And as long as they are able to stay sub 15 was a little extreme. When they can stay within that 12 range, they're always within reach. They're 7-1. They were 7-1 in clutch games coming into this one. So once they then got that within 5 inside of 5 minutes, then you knew that they were live to not just, I felt great at that point with a plus 9.5, obviously, but I felt great about them winning the game at that point. They're now 8-1 in clutch situations. To me, the biggest thing, and they had blown opportunities too. Miles Turner had that wide open 3 with 4 minutes to go to cut it to 1. He missed it. That was a blown opportunity. You had Aaron Nesmith attack the rack strong on Lou Dort with a chance to cut it to 1. That was at about the 2-minute mark. And Lou Dort not only stopped him dead in his tracks, but actually blocked it midair, which was an incredible defensive play. They just kept continuing to attack. I felt like OKC throughout most of this game didn't shoot the ball very well. But if I had to attack one reason, it was the disappearing act of Chet Holmgren. I looked up at one point early in the fourth quarter and I said, when's the last time I saw Chet Holmgren make a basketball play? And he cannot have disappearing acts like that in tight games like this. He's too important to what they want to do. I thought Jalen Williams was great tonight. SGA did exactly what you expect from him. But I thought the disappearing act of Chet Holmgren, if I had to place blame on someone, and the overreaction from Dagenalt, I think he was trying to be the smart guy in the room. Those two reasons to me stand out as why they lost.
Yeah, they absolutely did. Thought Rick Carlisle did. I think I know, but here's a really interesting thing, right? Of you come in with a game plan and you don't want to abandon it. And I think one of the interesting things here is in the first half, like I was talking to Jim Turvey and he was like, they can't, like, Obi can't play in the series. Like, why is Obi playing it? Like, he can't play. And then he was like, Miles can't play. And I was like, Miles is zero, man. Like, they have done better with him on the floor. And he was like, oh. And then, like, Miles and Obi were huge for them in the second half. Like, absolutely massive. Those 3-pointers were just absolutely gigantic. Like, the front court, the Pacers, if you really want to get into it, Pacers won this game with front court. Like, which is wild. That's wild. That, like, you've got J-Dub and you've got Chet and you got Hartenstein. And, like, the Pacers... Like even Miles Turner, who is not a great guy for dominating on the interior, 9 rebounds, 3 blocks for Miles Turner. Absolutely ridiculous. Like that was just absolutely incredible. Fiddle total. This is like it's weird. For game 2, am I seeing this right? This opened 225.5. We've got 227.5 in the market.
Yeah, so it opened at 225.5 at one specific book, and the other books all opened it at 227.5, if not higher. So that one book has come up to 227 and has matched a few others. If anything, I would say probably a slight overplay, like maybe a half unit over if you have a 227, because the sharper books are hanging out at 228 or 227.5 with VIG towards the over. I'm just constantly watching this screen light up. That's why my eyes aren't always looking at you guys, but just what's going on over here, because yeah, it's starting to form a little bit of a consensus, and that's around 227 with maybe a slight overlean and minus 11 with really just no movement at all. 11 or 11.5 is crazy.
We're tracking like an early sharp action on the under, which I think is really interesting. I'm probably going to jump back in on under 227.5 here. At least I don't know. I'll have to wait till I know, because I got to wait till tomorrow, because like right now, like here's the thing. This was an under game. I thought like everything I said about the series was wrong. Everything was wrong in game 1. Like I am owning it as much as I can possibly own this, guys. Where I was like, oh, if you like the Pacers, you want the over, and if you like the under, you like OKC. Nope, Pacers in the under. Like I got no explanation for it. It goes against everything that's kind of like gone to script, both in the playoffs, regular season, X's and O's, like all of that. Just that's how sports is sometimes. It's just how it goes.
It's the intensity of a championship game. It's something I always try and take into account in any sport that I follow. And it played out tonight because these two teams are incredibly talented. They're going to have games in this series where they score a lot of points. But that first half, that first quarter specifically, was tight. I mean, it felt different. I know everyone's freaking out because there wasn't a Larry O'Brien trophy on the court. Get over it, okay? We're grown-ups. We can get
I was
this.
pissed about that.
No.
I was pissed about that.
No, bring it back right now.
No. We need this shit. Felt like looking at the court, all I see is ads. Like, no, there should be a finals logo, a trophy on the court, script writing, something to make it feel like the fucking finals.
But my point, Ryan, is that it felt like the finals because it felt like everybody's sphincter was a little tight in this one. Okay, that's the best way I can put it.
That was the one thing in this game that pissed me off. Also, I don't think like Mark Dagnall also needs to get more shit for changing the starting lineup and getting out rebounded 56-39 by the Pacers, because the Pacers didn't do that against the Knicks at all last series. And Tom Thibodeau got a lot of shit, lost his job. Like I think Mark Dagnall needs to catch a lot of heat for that. You cannot sit.
Yeah.
Like how do you Isaiah Hartenstein, by the way, points, rebounds, prop 13.5 for next game. I just checked. If you want that over. How do you get out rebounded by 17 against the Pacers, who are not like a top rebounding team the entire playoffs, the entire regular season? Like they're not an elite rebounding team at all. And you sit one of your guys. You have this double big lineup. You go away from what works. Like you're not supposed to be the team that blinks first. If you're the better team, you're supposed to make them play to you. That's just bad process there. And on top of that, he didn't even overcompensate by balancing out the minutes because Isaiah Hartenstein only played 17 minutes in this game and was productive in those minutes too.
Maybe they need Tom Thibodeau. Maybe that'll get him over the hump. That's what they need. Thunder had 46 points in the paint to 34 for the Pacers. Pacers have one more point, second chance point. Thunder have one more fast break point. I don't understand how they won this game. 18 to 11 and 3-pointers made, I guess, is the difference.
There you go. 46% versus 36%.
30
and then from the field, 48% versus like 40%.
30 attempts. Yeah, Raj and minus 2.5 OKC field. Yeah, my bet's dead. Yeah, like OKC's not getting. I mean, so one of the things I said was, okay, if you, said this on the podcast with Jim, who took Pacers, was, hey, if you want the script is Pacers. It's the Nuggets script, just with an actually good team. Is you steal game 1, you lose game 2, you take game 3, they take game 4. And then no matter what, you got a 6. Now, I think Indy's more live than Oklahoma City. If that script follows, I think they're more live in game 5 than the Nuggets were. I think they can take game 5 and then close it in 6 even. But that, like, by getting this win, they have assured that the series will go long, which is great for them. Because I think the longer this goes, the better it is for the Pacers. Like, I think the Thunder needed this to be like, yeah, we're just better and it's dominant and it's over. And like, it can still go that way, because just like, this game happened this way. Maybe next game it goes completely differently. Fiddle, do you have any betting basketball kind of thoughts of like where to go from here?
Yeah, I think there's already some props for game 2 that I think are really interesting and worth noting. Like, already. Do we go back to the Tyrese Halliburton under? It's at 8.5 assists, minus 115, minus 125s are out there. There's an open at minus 160 on that number. So that seems like an early good value on the under 8.5 available a few places. Siakam's points prop, 17.5 a few places, 18.5 at others. Dort to get a steal, minus 190 at some books, minus 270 at others. So I'm just looking at these props show up and just trying to find some discrepancies and thinking like, I mean, that Dort steal feels inevitable. I kind of like going back to the Hallie under assist angle, but the turnovers, I mean, if they just limit the turnovers, he should get a few more assist opportunities, and then it was a low game. But yeah, those are just the prop angles that I'm looking for game 2, because I do think it is going to be a game that is more bet in the prop market, not like how much money and handle, because obviously, but more like where are you actually going to find stronger market moves and bigger edges is probably going to be in the prop market.
I agree with that. J-Dub assists. One thing I did notice late in this game, I'll probably write about this. They started blitzing Shea, which I thought was really interesting because the Pacers don't want to do that. And when you do that, you risk those sequences where it's like, you get those really wide open looks, and OKC couldn't hit him. Like the one where Shea split that double, got downhill and kicked to Jalen Williams. That's perfect basketball. Like that is perfect basketball. And J-Dub missing it. Just Fred, who's been in the comments the whole time. WTF just happened. I mean, it's insane. It's absolutely ridiculous. Brian, what are the 2 props you've already jumped on?
Isaiah Hartenstein points rebounds is one of them. Okay. At 13.5. He played 17 minutes. He got 9 and 9. I don't know if he starts next game. I think he plays and plays more. And I do think that the Thunder will not get out rebounded by 17 next game. I have confidence in that at least. I have no idea what's going to happen with the actual game, but I did take that. Jalen Williams, I kind of like his PRA, even though he went 6 of 19 tonight because of the 19. I don't think he's going to go 6 of 19 next game. Like I was on the points and I wanted the PRA. Process was there, shots were there, and evidently, like if SGA is getting up 30 and Jalen Williams is getting up 19, like that's a good sign. He just missed a bunch of shots. I'll be on Jalen Williams' PRA. I'm staring at OKC first half because you know how I am with the bounce back spots this year in the playoffs. OKC first half has moved from -5.5 to -6.5. So that's something I'll be tracking. If I do bet OKC game 2, it will not be full game. It will be first half. But right now, I'm just going to stare at it, and we'll see how long that lasts. I'd like to get it at 5.5. But
I'm just gonna beg tomorrow on the show for people to help guide me to get bets. That's all I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna do. Kravitz, are you gonna bet Pacers again in game 2?
I'm not. I said in my cap for Pacers plus 9.5 that if I nailed it, that I was going to jump right on the Thunder in game 2. Now, with the way that this went, I was even more right than I had anticipated on that episode, because the Pacers not only covered, they won the game. And now there's this huge overreaction to the zigzag. And so I think the number is a little bit out of whack right now. If it was still sitting at what the initial early line was for the Thunder, around -9, I would already have bet it. At -11.5, I just don't feel any incentive. I'm more curious. I can't see it ballooning past this. So I would rather get a -12 on OKC is what I'm trying to say, and know that I'm on the right side of the market, than to bet a -11.5 right now, and then there'd be a better number in a couple of days. Fiddle, is that sort of in line with the way that you would read the market?
Yeah, what you're pretty much just saying is that you're willing to trade some line value if you were to get it for information, right? So you'll get information from the books. It's the same reason why the books open limits larger as the market develops, is because they're just gaining more information. They have more confidence in the line that they're setting. And so you'd say, I'd have more confidence in the line that I'm betting. So yeah, I think that totally makes sense. And I think that is what's probably going to happen in this market. Like, we're going to see, there's no OKC backers rushing right now, right? We have 3 days. The people who are going to rush to the market right now are probably going to be Indiana. So we're going to get a lot of signals to see if there's moments where we do get 10.5s and 10s showing up again, and how quickly do they get wiped out? Or is the books just going to hold a huge handle and keep this at 11 no matter what? So I just think it's like in this particular one, especially with the zigzag being very priced in, it is one where time will help us gain a lot of information, and it won't change the betting odds too much.
And it's not like OKC played a bad game. I mean, if for a while it looked like they were going to win this one by 20.
98% chance to win with a few minutes left.
I thought.
Go ahead, bro. I was going to say real quick, because I took either team to get the NBA record 19 steals in a game.
I thought he was live.
We were more than halfway there. We had 14 at the end of 3 quarters with OKC, and they didn't get another one.
There was like 2 of them where the Thunder got a deflection, but they got the ball back, and I was like, I didn't even bet it, because I bet the individual one instead of the team one, because I was like, no way, come on, it's so many steals. And then, dear God, by the way,
we have at least 3 more chances though.
I do think from a actual, I will contribute something of substance here. This is an important number here. The Pacers had 25 points or 25 turnovers in this game. They only led to 11 points. If they're not live ball turnovers, it doesn't matter. That doesn't help OKC, because you saw what happened when OKC's half-court offense had to go up against the Indies' half-court defense. And that was one of the things that I talked about with Brandon and argued with Brandon Anderson about, was like, hey, I think the Pacers defense can actually hold up here if they can not turn the ball over. And then they turned the ball over 25 times and they still won the game. And I took OKC -2.5 on the series spread, and OKC in game 1, and all that was wrong. But like, this is indicative of where Indy's defense at, which is another reason to me, I think, to take the under again in game 2. I still think that's probably the best number, I think, Fiddle, right now, is the under.
Would any of you?
Okay.
Would any of
you still want to go with the market? Isn't there a point? I wanted to ask you this on the spread too, Phil. Isn't there a point where it's just steam, where none of it is like substantive, right? Where it's like, if this gets out to 12.5, 13,
I would definitely bet the Pacers. It won't though, right. But then that's why I don't think any of it is substantive. Like, all of it, every market move matters, in my opinion.
Okay.
Absent started to show up.
Do what?
Question. Oh,
some 10.5 starting to show up on. So that Pacers money.
Starting to make the impact. Yeah. What do you got, Brian?
Would any of you bet Pacers to win a series at plus 260 right now?
I make it 284, so no. I can take off. Maybe I need to take off the home court advantage because I gave them this bump based off of the home court advantage and how dominant home courts have been for teams in the finals.
But why would you do that now rather than wait until after game 2 where they're probably going to get smoked?
Because what if they don't?
Or right.
They were up 2-0 against the Bucks, the Cavs,
and the Cavs, and the Knicks.
And the Knicks.
Okay. Well, there are a couple of takeaways here. You can just bet the Pacers plus 400 right now and be done with it for game 2. And then that could just be the bet. Also, if the Pacers win this series or even push it to 7, and this just looks like two teams where it's an exciting coin flip series, this could be the end of a minus 700 favorite going into the NBA Finals or any late NBA playoff series that doesn't have some massive injury. This was part of my thinking going into game 1. It has played out, so obviously there's some confirmation bias going on here. I recognize that, but we are in the parity era in the NBA. These teams are not that far apart. And I think that pre-series line right now feels pretty ridiculous. I mean, it's already mega adjusted. We're sitting at Thunder minus 320. I mean, that thing has already been slashed in half. Yeah. I just think that if this series goes to 7 in either direction, we're just not going to see that kind of line anymore.
I mean, I would say, what do you think the series price should have been before game 1?
I mean, with the benefit of hindsight and knowing the way the game 1 played out, I think minus 500, minus 450, minus 500 would have been more in line with reality. I don't think the Thunder were so minus 700 is saying that.
I'll ask you this: do you think on the power rating, do you think OKC was overrated, the Pacers were underrated, or both?
I think more so the Pacers were underrated.
Okay,
but I think both are true.
Now, bear in mind my process for this, and you know, I was in line with the market. I had a little bit of value early on Indy before I did an adjustment that was regrettable. Because like when we started talking about it after, I was like, oh, I've only got this at 7. Am I going to have to bet Pacers here? And I was like, and then I saw the trends on game 1 and was like, no way. But I don't know. Like, I didn't adjust the Pacers up in the playoffs because I still had them above everybody that they played. Like, I still had them on value on everybody. Like if I had except for the Bucks. And so I didn't see any reason to make an upgrade on Indy's power rating. And I definitely didn't see I had to upgrade OKC's because I originally docked them to, because I was like, oh, you can't blow out everybody in the playoffs. And they did. When they've won games, they win them by an average of 27 points. Like, I mean, the number, what I will say is I disagree with your assertion that the number was ridiculous. I don't think the number was ridiculous. I think Indy is just this much of an incredible story. And we do need to keep in mind here what happened tonight, which is that the Pacers pulled off again another 15-point comeback when the winning percentages for these teams is absolutely like, and again, that's sports and that happens. But the question is whether the process was wrong or not. And that's right.
But that's where this league is changing. We are seeing this sort of thing happen more often over the last couple of years than we have throughout NBA history. So in some ways, the 15-point comeback late in a game is not as miraculous as it once was, despite what the win percentages would tell you at ESPN.com.
Brad Unger says this feels super overreactionary. The Thunder are favored by double digits game 2, and assuming they win that, they'll be favored in game 3 as well. They will definitely be favored in they'll still be favored in game 3,
no matter the result. Yeah,
they'll still be favored
even down 2-0. They'll be
and this is what I would tell you is like, that's why I'm not doing best bets. We used to do on buckets. We used to do best bets the night of, and it was like Matt Mitchell had to be like, you guys are all on tilt, go to bed. And so we started doing best bets the day after, specifically for this reason. Is to like, okay, how do you feel in the morning after the rush of the Pacers with this miracle, amazing, incredible comeback? And like, Kravitz can be right and they can win the series and win the title. And I think that'd be an amazing story. OKC can also come back and absolutely smash them in 4 of the next 5. Like, I think that's entirely possible. And then I still lose minus 2.5 because they win in 6. That's probably what's going to happen because I think Brandon Anderson has that. So that's probably what's going to happen.
He'll make his money back. Nobody's worried.
Yeah, don't worry. Brandon will come out ahead while I lose. That is what will always happen.
Pacers in 6 is plus 710, by the way.
All right. This has been
I think somebody asked.
This has been a great show. I appreciate you guys being with us. Check out the show tomorrow at 2:30 Eastern, Friday, on youtube.com/The Action Network, and they'll be in your podcast feeds. We'll be back on Sunday, pregame, postgame, 4:30 Eastern, after the game, live bets. I will ask questions instead of offering up anything. And then you can read all our stuff in the Action Network app as well. My thanks to Brian Fonseca, Michael Fiddle, and Brandon Kravitz for joining us. We'll see you guys again next time. Until then, get buckets. Oh my God, the Pacers.